Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and in this video tutorial, we are going to be 3D modeling this object. So we notice here that the origin is right up top of this front face. So that's going to be easy. We're going to draw on the front face with the origin up top, use these measurements and extrude all the way back, sketch up on top, draw the holes, cut them down through, and then we have to do this part. So this is the tricky part here. This is a part that's in the unit where we're learning about how to use planes. So as of right now, we've done some easy planes, a mid plane, another mid plane. Here we've done a plane that's built off of a construction line, and it's going to be the same thing here. We're going to be using a plane that's built off of a construction line. And this is in millimeters, so we got to make sure that we change our units. So I would pull this to your other screen if you have the capability of doing that. If you don't, you can just kind of follow me. But you can see here what this part actually looks like when it rotates around. That middle console or that middle tube there is almost sliced off. It looks a little strange. And you can kind of see how my plane is made, cutting right through the middle of that. So I'm going to start by making a new part. And I'm going to change my units to millimeters. And I'm going to sketch right on the front plane. So using my line tool, I'm actually going to change this to a midpoint line, and I'll click on my origin and move out to the side. Notice the midpoint line just saved me an extra step. It just kind of drew symmetrical out from the actual origin. So I'm just kind of sketching around with my line tool. I hit escape. And you could do this in several different ways. I'm just going to select this one, and I'm going to not only make them equal, but I'm also going to make them collinear. So it's going to be on the exact same line. I'll select these two verticals. I'll make them equal as well. And I'll make these two verticals equal. Okay, so now everything should be symmetrical. Moving in or out, up or down, it all should work together. So again, the two verticals that are opposite of one another are equal. These two verticals that are opposite of one another are equal. These two horizontals are equal and collinear. Okay, so now you can use your Smart Dimension tool and we can start to dimension all of these. This is 9 tall. Overall, from the bottom to the top is 25. This is 16 wide. And the whole entire thing, so you could just use the top line there, would be 65. So 4 simple dimensions, and it should be fully defined. Now I'll go to the Features tab and Extrude, and we want to send this backwards, so I'm going to hit the reverse button, and this is going to be an extruded total distance of 103, so 103. We're going to hit the green check. So now we have our solid bottom, so let's sketch up on the top. So get your sketch tool, click right up on the top, and do a Control 8 so it rotates around to a flat view. Okay, I'm going to get my circle tool and draw 2 circles right up above one another. I'll hit escape. I'm going to select both of these by holding in shift, and I'm going to make them equal. And I'll also select their center points, holding in shift, and the origin, and I'm going to make them vertical from the origin, so it's straight up and down. Okay, so now they can't move left or right, they can only slide up or down. And they're also the exact same size. So from here, now we can go ahead and dimension this. So from the bottom line or from the origin to the circle itself is 14. It says it's 75 from one circle to the other. And those circles themselves are 13. So they should be fully defined. Now we can go to the Features tab and Extrude Cut. And let's cut these through all. Hit the green check. So now if I rotate around, I have the easy part done. So this is where I would recommend saving because sometimes your computer may crash because it's a lot to think through. But the next part after saving is we are going to be sketching up on top. And if I pull this back over, we are going to be sketching this center line here of the middle of this tube as a construction line. So if we notice the center of that circle is 33 over, it's attached to the back and there's no measurement back here, but we do see it's at 60 degrees. So try to remember that. We're going to hit Control 8, so we are up on top here. I'm going to get my line tool and check the box for construction. I'm going to click this line and draw over on an angle and click that line. Now it's coincident, connected to both of those. Get your Smart Dimension tool, and from the bottom line to this point right here is 33. And the construction line to that side line is 60. And it should be fully defined there. So we're going to hit return from sketch. So now we have that construction line to use, and that's going to help us actually create our plane. So we're going to go to the Features tab, Reference Geometry, and Plane. Our first reference is obviously going to be that line. The second reference is going to be this corner point. Now, when you first click that, it looks like it didn't do what we wanted. Well, that's because over here, it just made both of them coincident. So we want to change the one thing to parallel. So it's going to be parallel to this line. So in other words, if it's going this way, it's going to go opposite, which is parallel or cutting right through it. And you can see now it is dead center of where that is. Now you might be saying, well, why is the plane stopped over here? Keep in mind, a plane is infinitely big. So it's actually way over here and forever. Okay, so the plane is created how we want. So let's hit the green check. We're now going to be sketching on that plane. I'm going to hit Control 8. Okay, and this is kind of a strange view, but you see there's a little tiny gray dot here. That is the construction line. So I actually like to just rotate just to a slight view up here so I can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to use the line tool. You might want to use a midpoint line. You can just use a normal line. It doesn't really matter. But I'm just going to be drawing over. Okay, and then I'll get my tangent tool or an arcing tool, sorry. So I probably want the 3-point arc, and I'll click one end, rotate around, click the other, and we're just going to move up here. So if you zoom in, so this was the 3-point arc. We connected it to both ends. We're going to take that center point and the center of this, so hold in shift and select both of them, and we're going to make them coincident, so it's locked in. Okay, and then we're also going to take that point, still selected, hold in shift, click your construction line. So let's try that again because mine did not work. That point and the construction line, and notice the relation, it says pierce, meaning it's going to connect to another sketch. It's going to pierce into the other sketch and connect to it. So now it's pierced on there. In other words, it's kind of like coincident, but through another sketch. So the bottom line is now connected, and we just have to dimension the top. So the overall arc of this, it says it has a true radius of 19. Now we'll go to the Features tab and hit Extrude. And this is probably a new type of extrude than you're used to using. Over here where it says blind, we've used the blind, we've used midplane, we've used through all, but we have never used up to surface. So we are going to use up to surface and click this part right here, and it's going to extrude until it hits that wall and stop. Now you're going to say, well, do we need to do 2 extrusions? No. There's also direction 2. So we can do up to surface on that one as well, and select here, and we have both of them stopping. That is a pretty cool extrusion. Then you hit the green check. Now we want to sketch that middle hole again. So get the sketch tool, make sure nothing's selected by the way, but get the sketch tool and you can select your plane. Then I like to hit Control 8 again so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to get the circle tool, and if you move your mouse over here, it should kind of lock into where the center of that arc is. You can draw your circle, and that hole says it has a diameter of 16. Go to Features, Extrude Cut, and this time we can just do through all both, so meaning it will go both directions. So it'll cut until it doesn't hit anything else. Green check. Now we got pretty much the entire shape done, so the last thing is that we need to fillet this. So on the Features tab, we're going to do Fillet. It's going to have a measurement of 3, and it was filleted here and rotated around and the other side. Green check. Let's change our material. This is gray cast iron, so you're probably going to have to go into the Edit Materials folder. Scroll down to the iron folder. We want gray cast iron, not the one that says SN, just normal gray cast iron. Hit apply and close. If that plane bothers you, you can right click on it and hide it. That's the eyeball icon. Same thing with that sketch. If it bothers you, you can hide it. Now it just looks like only the part. And we can go to evaluate and mass properties. Your mass properties, you should get a mass of 1143.18 grams. You can also check your center of mass to see if all of that is correct. So if you got this, you can save it, move on to the next one. If you didn't, try to problem solve and figure out where you went wrong.